Hello and welcome back to the Website Investing Show. Hope everyone's doing well. As you can see, we've got no Adam today, but no worries. We've got fantastic replacement in Jake. He's already been on the stream once before. Once before? Is that right, Jake, or is it twice now? Once before.
No, once. Just the once. Yeah, this is me
just
second.
The once. So sharing his digital PR knowledge. So we've got a great show for you today. I think it's one keep banging on about digital PR. We're just seeing great results and we're loving it right now. So, we just want to share, as we always do with you, how you can go about doing it yourselves if you're interested in that. Also, of course, our service is available as well, should you not want to do it yourself. So, we'll get onto that in a little bit, but how's things with you today, Elena?
Good. I've had a good week. I got myself a second monitor. Treated myself.
I saw that, about time.
I know. It's a total game changer. I should have done it sooner, but I took advantage of the Black Friday deal. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get myself a second monitor.
Monitors are pretty cheap now, is all right.
Yeah, but I want to get a good gaming one because I game a lot. So I want to make sure that it's proper good one.
Yeah. Once you double monitor, you can never go back.
I know. That's what I've
heard. But all I find is if I'm just on my laptop on its own, I just get so frustrated just because how am I living with just one screen? It's a pain.
Yeah.
I've had it for a long time. I've probably been doing 2 screens for 20 years or something now. Because at Microsoft, it was by default. Everyone just had 2 monitors. Because Microsoft did a study years and years ago about what's the optimal number of screens for people to be productive in terms of being productive, and they worked out it's 3 screens. So you have one in the middle where you're working, and then you have 2 each side, which is supplementary, you can kind of refer to and look at and stuff. But the jump in productivity from 1 screen to 2 screens was massive, but from 2 screens to 3 screens was a little bit. But going from 1 to 2, your productivity goes massive. And I just feel so hampered now when I'm back to 1 screen. It's annoying. Just annoying. Anyway, how about you, Jake? Are you a 2-screen man or are you a 1-screen man?
I was just about to say I don't have that luxury. I'm a 1 screen at the minute, and as of last week, I was still working off the kitchen chair with my new desk. So I've got a new chair, which is good for me back. So that's all right. But I'm still on 1 screen. So I'm looking forward to seeing if I get 2, how my productivity goes up.
Man, you can be doing 40% more.
Huh?
You can be doing 40% more,
As of last week, I didn't even have a mouse. I just dug this old one out. So I've just been working off my laptop mouse pad.
Oh my god! Yeah, you'll get close to Adam's heart. He for the last for as long as I've known him, he's always been in some rickety table on some rickety chair. I think once he gets his new house, he's planning to have the 4 works. He's kind of been holding off on it, but yeah, he's been sitting on and working on. So he's also complaining about his back, how it hurts, and get a proper chair. But yeah, all good. How's your week been, Jake?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been busy as usual. We've had a lot of. I think we've got quite a few new clients off last week's call live stream. Sorry, which was good. So just been busy getting them onboarded. We've launched our first 2, properly launched our first data campaign, which is tied in quite nicely to this. And I've actually just had a really good link of it, literally half an hour ago. So yeah, it's good. It's just been a bit mental, but in a good way, getting a lot of new clients happy and onboarded, which is really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean we've been talking about how quickly we've been picking up some links. Some on the last stream, I think. Oh yeah, you were commenting, weren't you? Yeah. So for some customers, we're 2 weeks into a 3-month campaign. We've already hit their quota for leads or their minimum number of leads guarantee for that quarter. So done pretty well.
Yeah, and we've actually just beat that record as well. We've just had a client sign up who would not even onboard until it's either tomorrow or Monday, and we've already built them 4 links. So one's on Yahoo as well, so he'd be over the moon about that. We're going to keep that as a little surprise for him.
Nice, great work.
One from Yahoo, is it a do follow as well?
Yahoo's a no follow, but we've got Eat This Not That, which is I think that's a DR83, and that's the follow. And then it's gone on MSN as well, which is a follow. But there's another one we've picked up from as well. Forgot which site it was, but yeah, there's Yahoo's one's a no follow, which obviously isn't ideal. But yeah, it's not that one's the big. Actually, Eleanor, I'll put a link for you as well.
You know?
Made another sauce, says Eleanor.
Yeah. Back to the job, eh?
I'm asking about Yahoo because I know that it's very hard to get a do follow from them. With Haro as well. When we used to do Haro, there was like loads of like Yahoo that we used to get, but like they wouldn't do follow. It's really hard to get a do follow from Yahoo. I've done this, so but MSN as well. So the fact that you managed to get a follow from MSN is great.
Yeah, Yahoo's all no follow now, unfortunately. I think it's good for that kind of PR side of the SEO digital PR world, but yeah, I mean, it's not going to have much value. But I mean, doesn't stop people like you and me clicking the link still, you know, even if Google isn't crawling it. But yeah, it is what it is. It's still a nice start. I think it'll be over the moon.
The fact is, whether it's follow or do follow, you're still going to get some credibility in the eyes of Google if you're getting links from authority sites. Like yeah. So it's once you're talking about sites at that level, kind of follow, no follow, like Google's still going to give you kudos and credibility for that. So not too much to worry about. So let's see who have we got here today. Not too many people, right? On the early days of the stream. Hopefully I'll pick up in a bit. But we've got Luke, we've got Fruitback Cat, who's looking forward to the stream. We have Learn Medicare, Daniel, Caitlin, and Choose First, and Mario. So welcome everybody. That seems like there's more people than I think. That's just not reporting correctly. But anyway, yes. So what else have we got to talk about? Oh yeah, housekeeping. I've done it for a while. Here we go. So if you are new around here, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. That'll help us with the algorithm, help us make these streams bigger and just allow us to do more of these shows. Kind of hopefully that will add value and help you with what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve. We get 35 links today. We're at 11 already, so it definitely is under-reporting the number of people on the stream here. So we've got 11 already. So if you like what you see, please click the like button, and we'll give a giveaway at the end of the show if we get to 35 likes. We're here talking about it today. We've launched our digital PR service. It's also Black Friday, so we've got Black Friday deals on at the moment. You can get up to 20% off on different services. Well, you'll get 20% additional content on any of our content services. So whether you buy a site, or whether you buy an H domain, or whether you buy content, you're going to get 20% extra content, whichever way you buy it. Also, you can get up to 10% off digital PR, our digital PR service as well over Black Friday. So go and check out the link in the description to find out more about those deals. That's it. So let's kick off, shall we? Of course, now we've got the usual show here. So Jake's going to cover the topic that we're talking about today, which is top tier links using data to create stories journalists love. And Elena then is going to go on to do her a couple of H domain teardowns that she does always on the Thursday show. So Jake, I'll hand over to you, mate.
So I've pulled together a little deck, basically to just run everyone through, how you can use data to create stories that journalists love. And I think the main kind of opening point here is anyone can do it. You don't need to be a data expert. A lot of people get scared by the word data and that type of stuff, but honestly, it can be really fruitful in your digital PR kind of link building processes, but you don't need to be a genius to do it. It can be time consuming, but I'll take you through a few different ways we do it and had success doing it. So first things first, before you go wild and start creating loads of data assets, you need to kind of make sure there's a strategy behind the concept, really. So two key things we look at is, firstly, who are you targeting? Who are the people that you want to be getting in front of? Who are the people that you want to be driving to your website, buying your products, all that type of stuff. So you can create an in-depth persona of who you want to target. You might already have this to hand, if you're a food niche kind of website, you know what type of persona you want compared to kind of if you're a law niche, whatever it works like that. Just make sure you've got an in-depth persona. I think the key thing is to create the persona, see what type of websites they hang out on, which is kind of the second point, and then work backwards. Think of an idea to target them once you've looked at who you're targeting and those publications. So you want to create a list of key publications and have a real look through them. You know, have a look on Forbes to see what type of data they're covering, what stories they're running, what the tone of voice is, all that type of stuff. It just gives you enough insight to almost have one foot in the door when you do go to create that big data asset or create that expert comment, however you want to work it. So who are you targeting? Super important. And, you know, in the same context, why are you targeting? So which keywords do you want to actually, you know, do you want to rank well for? Where do you want to drive people to your site? And I think this is really important. When we create a data asset, as I'll mention later on, we create it and then have a little article to run with it, but that's got internal links through the key categories. So it's worth doing some research before you just dive straight into this kind of data asset and digital PR project. So yeah, who are you targeting, persona, and why are you targeting? Are you driving, you know, traffic to categories, to certain keywords, to certain products or services, or even, you know, things that you're selling on your website? It all kind of comes from this stage, and it all helps shape what that final idea looks like, I guess. So how to create the data idea? So you might be thinking, well, I've got absolutely no idea how to come up with an idea that works. You can just use these three as a kind of principle. So Google Search Operators is a great way of finding coverage that uses data in it. So if you search in speech marks for ranked or revealed or data study or study shows or report shows, if you put them into Google, it'll pull up a list of news stories where you can see what kind of data is being used in the world's top publications. You can even do speech marks revealed and then another topic, so revealed tech, and it will come up with revealed the top 10 tech cities in the world, and then you can start to see how other people are doing data. That's a really good way of seeing, you know, the quality of the data that's needed, to see the idea that's needed, and to just give it, again, just some context behind those publications and the type of things they cover and that they're interested in. And I think as well, if you've come up with an idea that's similar to that, you can always go back at this stage and contact the same sites that's covered a similar story and say, "Hi, just saying you've wrote this about the top tech cities. We've actually got one about the worst tech cities," or whatever it might be. Again, it's just about finding those ideas. So Google Search Operators are really good. Competitor research, like, I wouldn't usually recommend ripping off your competition, but if you can see that your competitors have had some really high DR backlinks or coverage in the past using a certain campaign, can you kind of take that principle that they've done, add your own tweaks to it, you know, add seasonality into it if it's a seasonal one about Thanksgiving data or whatever it might be. You can really get some good insight into what's worked for your competitors. And that can be a good one as well. And then seasonal campaigns. So, you know, if you are launching a seasonal asset, look to see what was covered last year, because in the UK press, they're always posting about how we're set to have the coldest winter on record or anything like that. You know it's worked before. You've probably read it before. Can you get in there earlier this year and try and launch something that ties into that, especially headed into 2023 now? Everything is going to be trends to look out for in 2023. This is what you should be doing in 2023. Have a look to see what's happened in your industry last year and just replicate it or add a new twist or something like that. And you can contact all of those editors or journalists that wrote about the same topic the year before. So they're three kind of really good ways to kind of get some inspiration, I guess, for a data idea. There is a lot of Twitter profiles that you can look at as well. There's digital PR tips, digital PR examples, all that type of stuff. And they just post loads of really good campaigns in your niche. So that's really good for inspiration as well. But yeah, so base principles, how to create data idea, your Google Search Operators, especially revealed and ranked. They're really good ones to look at in speech marks, and you'll start to see the type of stuff that journalists are covering, really.
Yeah. And why reinvent the wheel when you've already seen, a campaign is successful, basically? Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I mean, sometimes as well, once you've created that first big data set, you can reuse it again the year after. Just keep it updated, keep it evergreen. And then when it comes around this time next year, you've already remembered one that you did at this time, so you can just quickly update it. And then that big data asset doesn't become a big one anymore. You just need to add a few tweaks or update some of the data, and you can just keep that going as long as you want. But yeah, definitely don't reinvent the wheel if it's not needed. Sometimes journalists just cover the same story every single year, especially around Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. It's always the same type of stuff.
Yeah.
So how to validate a data idea? So you might have come up with a concept, but you might think, oh, how do I know it's going to work? There's a few ways you can do this. So the first one would be everyone pretty much knows one journalist or one, past journalist who could validate that idea. All you need to do, what I do, we've got contacts up and down the country, but I've got a really good contact at a major publication in the UK and one in the US where I can just pitch them an idea and say, like, hi, I've been thinking about pulling this data idea. Can you rip it apart for us and tell us what you really think? And they'll just look at it from a journalist perspective and say, oh, that data might not work in this angle, or that one needs updating, or that's not strong enough hook. And you can use that to validate your data idea. Reach out to me. I'm happy to tell you if it's a good or bad idea. But yeah, definitely asking. Even sometimes it can be something as silly as, say you've got a data idea around a topic that you might not be totally in the know about. It might be something like parenting. I'm not totally in the know just yet. But I would reach out to my mum and say, Mum, would you read this? And she'd say, yeah. And I'd be like, oh, well, it doesn't need to be a journalist that validates the idea. You just need, someone to really tell you what to think of it. But definitely asking journalists, because if you've got any contacts like that, it doesn't even need to be from a top publication either. All journalists think the same. They know which way they work. Just drop them a message if you're friendly with them and say, look, I'm struggling with this data idea, or I've just created it. What do you really think? Do you think it'll work? And they'll be honest and tell you. They'd much rather give PRs feedback than just be pitched blind with a pretty poor idea, because that's when they can get a bit agitated.
Yeah.
Second one, is the data available? Now, this is a pretty important one, really. But if you're coming up with a concept, you need to make sure that the data is there. So as I go through, I'll take you through one that we've pulled together. But a lot of data is freely available. You can ask governments for data via Freedom of Information request. You can search for data and use that as one of the kind of variables in your bigger data set. But just make sure it is available, because a lot of websites say you want Just Eat or Uber Eats data for a food campaign. You won't be able to freely get that without a lot of manual kind of labor behind it. So you don't want to spend all that time pulling the data set if it's not really going to work all that well. So it's worth checking to see if the data is already out there before you kind of come up with a final concept, because you'd be surprised how many times it gets to the final stage and it's like, actually, we can't get that data anymore, or it's not freely available or something like that. So definitely have a scoot around, see if the data is available before you validate it, really. And the most important one is the so what test. So this is kind of, what is it telling us? If it's not telling us anything, then it's probably rubbish. So, for example, if you were pulling a data set on the best nights out in America, but Las Vegas comes out on top, it's not really going to come as a massive surprise to journalists. So if that data is not actually telling you anything and it doesn't pass that so what test, then there's probably no point in running it. It needs to have a strong hook. We recently pushed one, a few months back, and it was around that the best nights out in the UK, and London was nowhere near the top, because we'd weighted the data in a way to say for every person there's 3 pubs. So yeah, you need to work on that so what test to ensure that it's telling you something a bit shocking, really. Journalists love a shocking news story or something that jumps out at them. So that's really important. On average, journalists only open something like 10% of their emails. So if that first headline, that subject line isn't shocking, they're not going to even bother opening it. So how to deploy a data idea. Now, this is probably the most important part of what I've spoke about. But you can just start building a data set in an Excel or Google Doc. So this one that I've got on screen here is for a current client. And all we looked at was kind of the best cities to start a career in tech over in the US. So what we did, we pulled all the cities in. We then pulled all the population in from a source, which is World Population Review. We looked at average salary, and you can freely get that on Glassdoor or Indeed or that type of website. We looked at fixed broadband download speed, which you can get on speedtest.com, I think it's called, where you can just put the location in, it'll tell you what the broadband speed is. Rent per month, that's on, well, there's a few different sources you can look at for that, any kind of rental websites, or even Numbeo if you wanted to. It's not as watertight, but it is still good. Number of tech jobs, again, Glassdoor. And all you do, you weight it in a way. So you create a little formula at the end to say, well, actually, it's probably a little bit more important, the salary column compared to broadband for starting a tech career. So we'll give that a score higher than the other. And it just weights it out so that in the end, you've come out with a clear winner. And I guess the hook for this one was Arlington. I mean, naturally, you'd think of Seattle and those type of cities as being the major tech players, but actually, if you break it down into smaller variables, it's not. So yeah, that's how the data set looks. You can sit it in a Google Doc. You can even share the Google Doc with the journalists. Just be a little bit careful on that, because they might link back to the Google Doc instead of your article. So yeah, write a base article to summarize the data, and it can just be a base article. It's just a landing page. Doesn't need to be 4,000 words. It can be 800 to 1,000 word article, just saying we've analyzed these different sources. This is the methodology of how we've done it, and these are the top 10 and these are the bottom 10. And then when a journalist takes that data, they'll link back through there as the source of the data. So the chances of do follow link goes up by having data as well. And then you can have the internal links from that blog post through to your categories that you've identified at the start of the project. And this is a really, really good way of building category or keyword level links off the tier one publications. We've recently did a bit data digging, and we looked at kind of the last 5 years worth of links that were built. And 97% of the tier one links that were built were all the brand terms. So if they're not going to give you a link direct through to a category, there's absolutely no chance. Well, 3% chance. So if you can build that brand link, just through the blog post, cited as a source, and have internal links, you're kind of beating the system a little bit, because you're going from there to there to there, because they're not, 3% chance of going direct to the category. So yeah, it's really, really fruitful, and I think it's an excellent way of building of category level links. So pitching data tips, I've kind of already touched on it a little bit, but there's a few different ways I do this. So first things first, you need to create a strong major list before this goes anywhere. But what I would say when you're pitching data is to always include what you think are the main news hooks in your full pitch. So you'll see there that I've included, Arlington's top, Seattle's here, this is there. And it's really, really important. And I think if you personalize this approach for every regional, say it's a regional data set, every regional newspaper, then you go with a different headline, you can go with different news hooks, you can compare them against the closest towns that they're ranking in. And it's really important to do that. Like I say, only 10% of journalists even bother opening it. So if you haven't got all the information and the key shocking facts in there, then you're not gonna get anywhere. So if you are pitching data as well, always include the methodology of how the data is pulled. CNN aren't going to take some wishy-washy data. They're going to want a watertight, these are the sources we've used. This is what we've looked at, and this is how we've determined the final result. And that's really important. What else have I got in there? A quote, that's always really good to go out with it as well, from yourself or your client. to summarize the data. Again, it's just giving the journalist another asset to use while they're writing up that big story. Include an image if you can, if you've got a stock image of, or you know, you've got a little nice visual of the data, include that, and always include a link to the study. But at the bottom you'll see that I've included another little bit about linking back, and I think this is important as well, where when you reach out with journalists, you've got to see it. If you use any of the data, please link back to us, because we are the source of the data. You'd be surprised how many journalists try and get away without linking. So yeah, they're the key points. Make sure it's a good headline, make sure you've got a methodology, make sure you've got news hooks, and make sure you've got a clear call to action to kind of link through to us or you guys as a source. So some of the results from that, so we actually pushed that concept that I showed you. That one isn't even sat on site either. It doesn't have to be. I think it just increases the chances of building category level links and all that type of stuff. But we've already had some really good success regionally in US with this. So the Advocate in New Orleans have took it, the Portland Business Journal, the Press Democrat in Sonoma County, Computer World, and Fierce Wireless. So they're all above kind of DR 70s and 80s, and they're all do follow backlinks as well. So it proves that you can go big on Computer World, which covers the full topic, but you can go super targeted and adapt the data for different publications. So that Advocate, New Orleans weren't one of the top 50 by population in the US. So I quickly took the same concept and just did it for New Orleans and compared how they would rank within the 50. And you can quickly tweak data as you go. To ensure that it's of interest to publications. But yeah, they all do follow backlinks. And again, I think it's purely because you're giving them data. I think if you're giving them something that they can't openly go out and get themselves because they haven't got enough time, you've kind of earned that link a little bit. We are classed as the resource, and by Google's guidelines, you know, it should really be a do follow backlink. And I think that's why data is key, really. And I think going into next year and the year after, you'll see everyone doing it. I think if you're pitching products or pitching articles and stuff like that, sometimes it can seem a little bit advertorial, and they'll just give you a no follow link or make you pay for the link, which is not what we're all about. So yeah, so that's some of the success, and we only launched that this week, so it's going pretty well for one of our clients. So reactive data, I thought I'd put this in. If anyone was on the live stream last week, you'll have heard us talking about how you can use reactive in your approach, and it's really important to still do it as part of a reactive campaign. So sometimes a story emerges where you can add data. So this was one I actually built for Niche, and all I did was Matt Hancock went in I'm a Celeb, and I just quickly went on an Instagram data calculator, and you can just put someone's username in and it'll tell you on average how much they would earn if they were to go down the influencer route based on the engagement rate, the amount of followers they've got, all that type of stuff. And I quickly put his username in. He can make something like £800 an Instagram post if when he came out the jungle he was going to be a social media influencer. But you can add value with data in multiple ways. You can go in Ahrefs and look at the search volume around a key topic. You know, when Squid Game was on Netflix, you might have seen a foot retailer in the UK quickly pulled some data on the spikes of Vans trainers had really shot up, because in Squid Game they were all wearing Vans, and the green hoodies was another one. One of our clients, we pushed that for, and that did quite well. In the last World Cup, Gareth Southgate wore a waistcoat, and one of our clients was a suit retailer, and we'd seen a 40% spike overnight in people searching for waistcoats to replicate Gareth Southgate. You can add data to emerging stories. It doesn't just have to be expert comment or, you know, that thought leadership piece. You can add data, and it can be really quick to pull, which I'll go on to some of the sources as we go. Yeah, there's the little snippet there. Jake exclusive shared data from the Matt Hancock. Oh, it's £447 by Instagram post. But yeah, that's how I can look at the end of it. So it's a good way of building things.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So these are some sources that can be used to look at starting to pull a data set together. So government data over in the UK, we obviously got gov.uk, but you can ask councils for freedom of information requests. We did one about a year ago on potholes on the road. So we asked every local council to give us the data on how many potholes are on their major roads. And from that, we're able to kind of push that around winter, as if like these are the pothole nightmares of the UK, and the Daily Star, Daily Mirror took it. But you can get the same pretty much over in the US and more. So government data is there to be used. It can sometimes be a little bit time consuming to get that, but sometimes the information's already out there. So that's a good one. Statista. Now you can get a free version of Statista, or you can just go on and have a look at the data. But usually it is a paid platform. But there is a lot of free data on there that's useful, especially if you're just adding it as one of the variables in a bigger data set. So that's good. Instagram, so I've kind of touched on that a little bit, but you can pull hashtag data. So we launched a campaign around the best beaches in Europe, and all we did was you search for the hashtag of that beach. So up where I live, it would be Seaburn Beach, and it would see how many posts have been mentioned with that hashtag. You can do that for say the top 100 beaches, and it'll give you a number. There's been 2,500 pictures tagged with that, 3,000, and you can just put them and say these are the most Instagrammable beaches in the UK or whatever it will be. So Instagram's good.
Did your beach make it, Jake?
I'm not going to go into that, but it should have. It's because it's a hidden treasure. That's why.
just on that, like, is there any tips for anybody? Is it literally just putting the hashtag into Instagram, or is there some tools you can use to pull it there up?
You can literally just put the hashtag in. If you go on and put your hashtag in, whatever it might be, it'll give you how many associated pictures or posts as being around that hashtag. All I'd say is make sure that the initial list you build of say a top 100 beaches or something like that is based on a pre-existing data set. So I don't know, National Geographic might have posted the best 100 beaches in the world. So you can take them 100, then run them through Instagram. Because if you just pluck 100 out, you'll get journalists replying saying, well, why is Seaburn Beach not on it? So yeah, make sure there's already a list out there. So if you're looking at kind of business related stuff, the Forbes Rich list's always a good one to look at, and kind of already use that list if you can. That's if you're going specific, but if you're going city related, yeah, I mean you can just do it that way. But yeah, I would Instagram, you can just go on, have a look at the hashtags, and it'll give you a number. There is an Instagram, if you type Instagram earnings calculator, that's how I pulled the Matt Hancock data. And you can do that for anyone. So say the World Cup's on now and you wanted to pull all the England players versus the USA players I'm giving away a good idea here actually, into a spreadsheet. US versus England, who would make the most on Instagram?
Yeah.
You can just put all the players, put all the things, the usernames through, and create two lists.
Yeah, it's a good idea. That's the next game, isn't it? So get it out there.
Yeah. So no one nicked that idea because I'm going to keep that one. But yeah, it's not just Instagram that you can pull data as well. If you're lucky enough to have access to any social listening platforms or anything like BuzzSumo or anything like that, you can also pull social sentiment data in. Now, this is really good. We launched this for the first time about 5 years ago, and all we did was we pulled usernames in, and it tells you how many. We pulled 100 tweets a day in at a user. So in this case, it was I'm a Celebrity again. We used all the contestants, and it pulls 100 tweets a day in directed to a username, and it breaks down via sentiment the positive versus negative split. So from that, we're able to determine kind of who was the next person to be evicted from I'm a Celeb, because the public think very negatively of this person. And that's a really good way, social sentiment tools. I seen one recently, which was quite good. which was looking at which football teams fans are the harshest on their own team, and it was basically just looking at like people like me tweeting Sunderland EFC, who's my team, saying
Yeah.
and it was a good way of doing it. So you can do it on Twitter. Facebook's and LinkedIn is a little bit more awkward to get data on. So I probably wouldn't recommend that. TikTok's a new one. You can do the same ish as to the Instagram hashtag thing, but on TikTok. So if you search a trend on TikTok, it'll tell you the top trending ones, and you can do it that way if you wanted. But yeah, social data can be pretty useful, as you're just saying by the Matt Hancock one. Google search data. So this is another one. You can either get this through Keyword Planner if you've got access to it, or you can use Ahrefs. So basically just looking at search kind of what people are searching for. So we launched one over in the US, and it was when people were coming out of lockdown. We looked at what people were searching to spend the money on. So we pulled like loads of gifts in and looked at, are people searching for buying, clothes, gym memberships, food, whatever it might be. But we made a really, really long list of everything pretty much that people would be buying, and we'll push that out. I think I included this in the last live stream, but yeah, we built links on Elliott Times and all that type of stuff, and it can be quite time consuming to pull Google search data, but I still see it as a strong place. People do pick up Google search data, like the Vans thing that I just mentioned, and especially if there's an emergency, something happens in the news, or there's a movie coming out, or anything to do with that. Using Google search data via the keyword planner, you literally just put your list of keywords in, and you can spit it out by regions or by cities. You can do city specific search data. So it's really good. Yeah, I'd recommend that. And Ahrefs have an equivalent on Keyword Explorer as well, but I personally prefer to use Keyword Planner to use that. And then last one there, TripAdvisor or equivalents, like I mentioned, Glassdoor, anywhere where there's kind of public data around a key topic. So TripAdvisor is really good. If you were to pull, again, just staying with that theme, the best cities for a night out, you can look at the amount of restaurants, amount of nightclubs, amount of bars, amount of tours, all that type of stuff, and they'll just give you a number. So you can type in like Manchester, and it'll tell you there's 3,000 bars, 2,000 restaurants, and you can just put them all into a document. Again, it is pretty easy to get that data, and a journalist probably wouldn't do that because it's time consuming, even though it's kind of already out there. So TripAdvisor is really good, Glassdoor is really good, Indeed. You can look at review sites. You can even use Just Eat if you put in a city, and it'll tell you how many different restaurants there is on Just Eat. Anywhere where you would look or you would buy, chances are you can find some good data on there. Amazon listings is another one, but yeah, TripAdvisor data works quite well.
Yeah, Google Trends as well. I don't think you mentioned that one, but it's another good place to go.
Yeah, there's loads in the list's endless. I think probably a good way to do it is think of your niche first, then think, right, where can I get data? I'm in the food niche. I've got what's it called, Open Space, Just Eat, Uber Eats, Deliveroo, and just start building out where you think you could get data at TripAdvisor first, and then that'll start to shape what the final idea looks like. I think if you go in first thinking, I want this big idea, you might not necessarily be able to find the data. Sometimes a better way of doing it is looking at the data sources first, and that might trigger an idea.
Yeah. Daniel's now got something to use his social listening tool for, so he's happy.
Yeah, they're really good. I think sometimes social listening tools, we've used Meltwater and Linkfluence and all that type of thing in the past. And I think sometimes you use social listening tools for yourself, for your own brand, for your own business. But actually, there's some really good data in there that you can use for digital PR campaigns. You can even put, like I say, you can put all different types of things in, but definitely the social sentiment. I think if you've got an in-depth social listening tool, it even gives you emoji analysis. So you'll be able to see, the most used emoji in each US state just by social listening, just by scraping that Twitter side of the social listening tool. So yeah, they are really good. But what I'd say is there's a lot more data in there than you think there is. The kind of positioned in this way, it helps your own brand proposition. You know, you can say what people are writing about you, but actually there's stories to be found in there. I think just have a little play about, and you'll definitely find something interesting.
Yeah.
So they're data sources that can be used, but data sources that should be used. And the reason I've highlighted this is because it's your own primary data. All those sources that we're being talked about, you're kind of just merging a few different things into one. But if it's your own data, no one can get access to that. So you're giving a journalist something totally exclusive. So what I mean by your own primary data, demographic data, we had a housing client here in the UK and we'd spotted a trend of over 65-year-olds inquiring for new build houses. Now, that was news because new build houses are aimed at a younger generation. And is it because of the credit squeeze? You know, is it because of the cost of living? People are having to downsize or go for cheaper options. So that was a hook. So you can use demographic data, sales data. This is massive. If you've got this, then this is probably the best one. I mentioned the suit retailer in the UK, you know, noticing that there's been a 40% spike in people buying products related to a certain industry or whatever it might be. Sales data is massive. Now, it's a common misconception that we're going to just go out there and say, oh, this client has made 3 million on these sales, and then all the competitors would say you don't need to do it that way. You can just talk about percentage spikes, talk about the percentage it's buying, and that gets around the need to talk about actual numbers. I think, you know, if you have seen spikes in certain products, is there a reason why? You know, has it just been a Netflix series? You know, is it a certain time of year why spikes go up and might be of interest? Have you noticed a big spike year on year in a certain product, and you can push out a little data set saying this is what's going to be big in 2023? So sales data, and then just to go at the bottom one, on-site search data. So if you don't actually sell anything on your site, say it's an informative website or a news website, you might be seeing people searching in the search bar on your website for certain things that isn't actually listed or you don't have information on. And that can be used two ways. You can either start building out a section of your site aimed at capturing those people that's searching for it, or you might be able to spot, well, actually, a lot of people are searching for this product and I don't know why. Again, it can form a part of a story. So on-site search data can be really, really good. Survey data. Now, again, a misconception. People think that surveys cost a lot of money, and sometimes they do, but sometimes you've already done them. You know, you email if you're a brand, you might not know that your sales team's launched a survey at your clients saying, you know, what they actually want from a digital marketing agency or whatever it would be. Ask them for the data, because chances are your internal sales team has some survey data already there, or consumer research or audience research data that you can use. Now, you can pay for surveys, and if you do, I would just make sure it's super in depth, because if any of your questions could spit out multiple different answers and everyone spits multiple different answers out that aren't relevant to the question you've asked, then you've wasted probably £1,000 or dollars on that survey data. Another thing with survey data, make sure it's representative as well. Don't just do a survey to your own family who's all sat in the same city, who's all similar age, who's all, you know, try and make it totally representative of a population or a city. And what I'd say is always try and aim for upwards of at least 1,000 respondents. But if you can stretch to 3,000, because that's probably even better. And surveys are on the way back as well. People think of them as almost like a dead digital PR tactic and something that we did 5 years ago, but that's not necessarily true. I seen a study yesterday where you know, it broke it down into which publications still take a lot of survey data, and Daily Mail, Daily Mirror in the UK were massive on it, and over in the States, CNN was massive as well. So it's a bit of a misconception, a bit of a myth. if you've got some good survey data, use it because it's a good tool. And last one was inquiry data. So we've got a few financial clients, and we're seeing certain spikes in people inquiring for, like, home improvement loans and all that type of thing. So from that, you might be able to see where in the UK or the US is inquiring for home improvement loans the most on your website. From that, you're able to create a data set based on the home improvement capital of England or whatever it might be. So yeah, inquiry data can be really useful. Yeah, so that kind of tied in with that housing one that I mentioned as well. So a couple of top tips just to round up really, but so I'll give you a little recap then. So first things first, think of who you're targeting and why you're targeting. Have a clear strategy behind that. Then maybe if you're not comfortable coming up with your own data idea, have a look at what's worked in the past. Like Mark mentioned, you don't need to come up with something brand spanking new. You can just kind of adapt something that we know has worked in the past. Check some of your data sources in your industry. If you literally just search for food data or law data or financial data, it'll come up with a list of sources, and you can start just having a look through, and you might be able to spot something that triggers an idea. Start building it out. Now, don't feel bad for scrapping an idea if it's 99% of the way there. Like, we do this all the time. We built a really good data set around the Olympics, and then lockdown hit, and there was no Olympics. But it's much better to have a fully formed, watertight data set than have one that's 99%, because you can bet your life that a journalist will find that 1% that doesn't add up, and that stops you getting that link. So that's kind of the concept of it all. Make sure it's built out, it's accessible. You've sat it on your site ideally, with internal links to the categories. But yeah, the top tips are: must have a clear news hook. If the news hook at the end is rubbish, add a new variable in and try and mix it up. We're not saying create fake news, but don't push out that London's the best for shopping in the UK because it's the capital city. Everyone knows that. If London isn't, then you've got a better news hook, but must have clear news hook or news hooks if possible. You must use reputable sources of data. If you see some data on a little blog that's got no traffic and no one's talking about, you don't know where they've got the data from, I would stay away. I would try and use kind of reputable sources. Like I've mentioned, TripAdvisor, Google search data. Your own data is the best reputable source because it's coming from you. You can explain how that data is being found. It must be able to be scaled and adapted as you go. And this kind of ties in with what, I don't know, Mark mentioned earlier about evergreen data. Making sure something has longevity, really. Keeping a data set there for a week. If you're pulling a data set now for Thanksgiving, it's over for a year. But try and think about how you increase the lifespan of that data set, really. In terms of scaling the data, you've already done it city specific in the UK. Can you take that concept and roll it out across European cities, then US cities, then worldwide cities? Definitely don't just think small, think big. But you might start with a small concept, and if that works, take it elsewhere. Start building links from new linking domains, all that type of stuff. So yeah, definitely must be able to scale and adapted, and you must build a strong major list. I think having an idea of where publications, how they use the data, and if they use data, and if they link, and all that type of thing. I think it's important to think backwards. Think of the publication, check what they're talking about, check what type of content topics they're working on, and then that'll help form an idea as well. But yeah, that's all.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Jake. Apologies to everyone if my audio was crap at the start of the stream, which I know it was, but I had the wrong mic selected, so apologies for that. But yeah, no, great. That was awesome, Jake. Loads and loads and loads of value in there. I hope everyone found that interesting. Feel free to drop us a message if you have some questions. I mean, feel free to hit us up with questions in the chat now. If you have anything after, feel free to contact us through the website as well, and we'll happily follow up with you and kind of cover off any questions you have. But hopefully that's interesting for everyone. We do have a couple of things just to pick up on. from there. Mario's asking if they can use the Black Friday deal to sign up for digital PR and use it at some other point in the future, and the answer to that is yes. Feel free to do that. We can get started whenever you're ready. So yeah, no worries about doing that, Mario. And Adam is on his day off. He's watching the stream because he can't get enough of the digital PR, obviously. So Jake, Adam here. I know the survey can be quite expensive. If you have a website that's getting tons of traffic, could you use a pop-up or something to survey your traffic and use that data? I'm guessing the answer to that is yeah.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I think just making sure whether it's a representative kind of traffic as well. It depends what your topic is that you're trying to ask. You know, if it's a food website, you get a lot of people interested in food and they're filling out surveys, then great. You know, you're targeting the right audience, but just making sure the survey is representative. If you can capture everything, you know, name, age, location, gender, whatever it might be, it's really useful. Another thing would be useful would be, you know, including a little survey that goes out your email marketing. You know, if you send an email marketing out to your 2,000 clients or 2,000 people that subscribe to reading your website or whatever it might be, drop it in then, and even offer them an incentive. You know, if you fill out this, you'll get a free, I don't know, 100 quid Amazon voucher or whatever it might be, enter a draw. I mean, we all get them, don't we? We all get those emails of, you know, fill out our survey and we'll give you this, and you can do that as well. Just I'd say make sure you are capturing all of the information. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, like if it's a biased audience, like if it's a knitting audience and you're asking which is better, knitting versus crocheting, you know, then you're gonna get knitting wars going on. So anyway, yeah, so yeah, I see it. Yeah, it's a good point. I guess you can also use social, right? If you've got a big social following, that Twitter polls or LinkedIn polls and stuff like that, if it works for the kind of survey that you're doing. So yeah, it's another option. Awesome. That's it, I think, for questions. So Elena, we'll let you take on the H domains, the teardowns.
Cool. That was great, Jake, by the way. Learning loads. I hope many people find this useful. So the first one I'll go for is Aromatherapy United. So it's in the essential oil space, and it's 9 years old, and DR28, and it has 148 referring domains. So we're gonna dive deep into it, and I'm just gonna share my screen. Right. Okay. So aromatherapyunited.org, DR29 actually jumped into one, and it kind of is a domain that it was about. So if you're not familiar with essential oils, I don't know, you've probably heard of them. They've been booming for a while. There's like Netflix shows about them, etc. And there's like many health benefits, at least that people like claim about essential oils, and many companies, you know, trying to make sales and saying, take this lavender oil, massage it onto your skin, and you're gonna get rid of stretch marks, whatever. And this site was basically a site kind of warning people about the use of essential oils and the claims that some people and some companies are making. So the site wasn't necessarily against essential oils. It was more against companies making false claims and saying, you know, take this essential oil and you will cure your diabetes, whatever, which were kind of not proven facts, if that makes sense. So this one was kind of dedicated to like pulling information and kind of warning people about some companies and some, you know, people claiming things that are not necessarily true or proven. But you know, this domain falls into the essential oil space, aromatherapy. So it is in that niche. And it also, as you can see, it says an ethic use of essential oil. So it is for essential oils, but it's just ethical use and making sure that the right word is out there, that, you know, there's no like misinformation of any kind, etc. So in terms of the backlinks, we have pretty good ones. We have medium.com, we have lifehacker.com, livestrong.com, we have Love to Know, we have Lifehacker Australia, Lifehacker Japan as well, theasianparent.com, we have Massage Today, which is a good niche relevant backlink because often essential oils and stuff are used for massages, etc. And then we have craftinggreenworld.com, and we have encouraging moms at home and things like that. So Eden's Garden as well is a very good link because it's niche relevant. As you can see, it's an e-commerce site that's getting pretty good traffic, and it has like essential oils and stuff like that. So another very good backlink. So all in all, pretty good backlinks. Moving on to the anchor texts, nothing really negative to report on this side of things. We are seeing branded anchor texts right at the top, which is kind of exactly what we tend to look for. It looks very natural, and we're seeing like things related to the niche and the site, nothing that shouldn't be here, that is here, so everything looks clean. In terms of the best pages by incoming links, now we are seeing that at the very top, we are seeing that the most links are going towards the homepage, which is excellent. But we are seeing here that there are some internal posts that are getting some backlinks. Now this one, injury reports, is basically these guys have basically pulled through some companies that either deleted or intentionally didn't report some complaints from customers using essential oils. And it was kind of a category in itself. Injury reports is a category, and these guys were kind of like collecting them and putting them on here and pulling those companies that were intentionally hiding and those negative reports of people complaining about the use of essential oils, etc. So this could potentially be turned into recreated as a post of could be like something more delicate, like potential side effects of essential oils and some reports, and then this can be redirected there because it is getting good links. So we have Medium, Eden's Garden, and Artisan Aromatics. So this page would ideally need to be recreated so we can reserve as much of the relevancy and the power of that URL. So now in terms of the strategy, because the site, although it was a little bit against essential oils, but it didn't it didn't say don't take essential oils. It was more like bringing awareness around essential oils because it was very much used by companies in a very kind of negative way, where they were promoting and saying things that aren't true. So we're still gonna make this site out of an essential oil site. But obviously, we're going to be very careful because with essential oils, there's often a lot of medically related stuff associated with it. When someone is looking to consume essential oils, they're often thinking, okay, well, if I massage this essential oil, I'm going to get those benefits. But there aren't many facts, surrounding. There aren't many medical researches or any real studies around those essential oils and their benefits. I think there are some confirmed benefits, but like none that are, that are too into the extreme, like massage your essential oils and you will cure this and that. So we're going to be very careful when it comes to the content. So I'm thinking things like informational articles on everything essential oil uses, how are they made, and types. Like we're not saying anything like, use this and they'll cure that. We're just saying why people tend to use them as a general knowledge, how they're made, again, general knowledge, which is fact. It's extracted from flowers, etc. And types, we know there is lavender essential oils. There are different types from herbs, from flowers, etc. So we're going to thread carefully when it comes to our content to make sure that we're not making any claims or we're not touching too much into the medical side of things, because Google, of course, doesn't really like people that, it's MYUL, it's your money, your life. So we need to be very careful when it comes to that. We can do things on aromatherapy, why some people use it, and history. We can do history of essential oils as well, how they came into the market, how they're, everything about them really. We can do also essential oil recipes because at the end of the day, there's a way of making it. And I have looked at a lot of bloggers and people who are really into essential oils. They really go out there and make them themselves. So how to make essential oils is actually a thing, like making them at home from your garden. So how to make essential oils from the garden, how to make essential oils from the garden. So they have if you have like a garden with flowers and herbs, you can make them yourself. And we're seeing here at page 1 on Google, how to make essential oils. We're seeing that on the second spot is a DR23 site. So this one has got how to make essential oils, a step-by-step guide, and it's getting 4,200 visitors to this post, and this site is less authority than us. We are 28, I believe we are 29, and this one is DR 23. So there's definitely something worth considering. Put a nice listing of 100 recipes, 100 ways, or we could also do like 100 ways or like 50 ways to use lavender. One of them could be essential oils, etc. So we can be really smart with the content and trying to make sure that we're threading carefully and not making it too medical. Now, when it comes to essential oils, you know, it kind of brings us to the question: who uses essential oils? Is it it's typically wellness fanatics, people who are a little bit on the alternative medicine or alternative kind of mindfulness people, meditation people, you know, people that are looking for alternative ways to make themselves happier, more healthy, etc. So I think that meditation, mindfulness, and wellness, not medically, could suit this site very well. But this is to be included down the line. You know, we're going to have to set out foundations that have been already laid out. So we're going to start with essential oils, and then later I think we can definitely expand down this route of more mindfulness, meditation, even yoga. We can touch a little bit on that, massages and things like that, self-care, all sorts of things. I saw some competitors who are doing how to make homemade soap. If you're someone who's obsessed with the health of your body and you want to make sure you avoid any kind of chemicals, you make your own soaps for your body, etc. So we can be really smart. That can be, you know, related. In terms of the monetization, this site is actually really good for monetization, because when someone is researching about essential oils, let's say someone is new and wants to find out a bit more about essential oils, there are two ways we can monetize. We can either monetize through our how to make essential oils. So when you want to make an essential oil, you're going to have to buy certain equipment, because nothing that you have in your house can potentially make your essential oil, right? You're going to need something specific. So we can monetize from there. And the second way we can monetize is by just selling essential oils. Some of them can be quite expensive, depending, but yeah. So if we sign into a good affiliate program, we can make some really good money on some of them, especially when you buy in bulks like these. We're having with this one is £33. This one is peppermint oil is 24. So this is something you have to buy online unless you go to a health shop somewhere and find it. But if you're reading something now online, you're gonna think, okay, well, that sounds really good, so I'm going to get myself one. How do I get myself one? And we've linked one somewhere through whatever, and person clicks and buys. So that's how we make a nice affiliate kind of chunk. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of potential for monetization with this domain. Also massage products. We can do massaging oils. We can do, again, very clean soaps, or like, again, if we have recipes on how to make body soaps, we can, you know, include ingredients and things that people need to buy. So as I said, we have to be very creative here. In terms of competition, the first one is Vinevida.com. It's DR27 and it's generating 34,000. So this one is less authority than us. And here's kind of what they're doing. So I'm gonna skip the ones that are very medical, because they are covering medical stuff. Like, for example, this might be okay, but then there are stuff like, okay, this one, like, there are medical stuff in here, but this one is something we can use. For example, how to dilute tea tree oil with water. There's nothing medical. We're just giving some information how to do something. We have, like, for example, this one is kind of hard to you know, kind of, there's no fact around this. How, you know, if you use essential oil, that's going to tighten your skin. So this is too medical. We wouldn't do that. We are looking, like, this one is, for example, again, too medical, unless there is proven facts and information out there that we can confirm that, you know, this is an actual, you know, a thing and it's proven medically. Will peppermint oil hurt plants? This could be something we can use, because I'm sure someone's probably tested it, and it's on plants, so it's not so much on humans. Diffusing lemongrass essential oil should be okay. Again, this is too medical. You see what I'm saying? Like, essential oils is fortunately quite associated with medical stuff, so we need to be very careful. For skin, could be fine because there's already a lot of makeup that uses oils and stuff inside to moisturize your skin, and oil is known to moisturize skin, so this should be okay. How to dilute peppermint oil is again fine. So there's going to be things we can pick from this site, but not everything, because I said we need to be very careful when it comes to what we say in terms of whether it's too medical or not. The second one is Imox.com. They are 28, again less authority than us, and sharing nearly 20,000. This one's got more interesting things. Now, as you can see, this is where we're going a little bit more into spirituality and more like chakra frequencies and things like that. Peppermint oil for beard, I think it's fine because it's not too medical. We're just, I don't know, if there are any benefits, proven benefits out there, we would definitely research them and see. Essential oils for, I think I saw something. How to make essential oil lotion. Now, this is where I like the stuff. This is the kind of stuff I think we can definitely cover. This is like recipes and doing something with it, like how to make X. And this could be easily put into a listicle. So you have a body butter recipe where they've given you the ingredients. So this is awesome because we can monetize by selling these individual ingredients for people to make those recipes. As we're seeing here, jojoba oil, one tablespoon. And then we have a lotion bar, and we have these things. So this is the kind of content I would like us to do. Like, we're not saying anything medical. We're just saying, here's if you want to do your own oil infused lotion, here's how to do it. So this is the type of things I would like us to do. We have, all right, this is also another type of content I would like us to use. How to use essential oils to scent a room. And this is a listicle because it's 12 ways to use essential oils to scent a room. We're not saying scent the room and you will cure your allergies, right? We're just saying this is how to scent it. As we're seeing here, they've given you methods. So this is the type of content I would like us to do. Let me just close this. This one is all right as well. Essential oil for body odor. If you're like someone who sweats a lot, and essential oils tend to smell really good. I have seen essential oils personally, physically, so they do tend to smell very, very good. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are used for like perfumes or any kind of like smelling goods. I mean, this stuff is getting traffic, search volume, so it's fine. Again, information like that, and things like that. So, as I said, like, we're going to have to be careful, but there is stuff we can do if we're smart. Right, so we're going to go on to the next site. And the next site is actually the one that I'm most excited about. It's called Much Morocco, and it's 7 years old. It's DR34, and it has 327 referring domains. So, yeah, I'm really excited about this one. So I've prepared quite a lot. So I want to show you everything about this site, HDomain more like. Right, so this HDomain was all about Morocco, particularly traveling to Morocco. So if you go to experiences, they have broken down all types of experiences you can do in Morocco. So from festivals to beaches, to culture in Morocco, cycling, desert treks, family days out, food and drink, golf. It was literally like the hotspot. This is the place to go if you want to find out more about Morocco. We have heritage, kayaking, rafting, luxury. Obviously, they have things like palaces and awesome stuff in there. I've never been to Morocco, but it looks great. Motorcycling, music festivals, people of Morocco, retreat, shopping, surfing, trekking. Literally, like, this was the place to go if you want to find more about Morocco. So yeah, this is kind of what the site looked like. I like the name. I like how it looked like before. So let's take a look a little bit more about what it was. It's DR35, so excellent authority. And historically, it used to get loads of traffic as well. So at its highest, around 15,000 Ahrefs traffic. So that is quite a lot. Means that this site was really kind of popular in the day. And the backlinks for me is like the best for this HDomain because the backlinks are a beast. We have New York Times, we have Bing, we have Business Insider, we have BuzzFeed, we have National Geographic. Do you know, like, I don't often see National Geographic, even on HDomains. It's one of those links that I come across quite rarely. I go through many HDomains, but I very rarely come across National Geographic. So this is a fantastic backlink. We have independent.co.uk, Block Loving, Insider, Lonely Planet, which is obviously related to traveling. The Star, Business Insider France, we have Business Insider Australia, we have National Post, we have iNews.co.uk, we have the Poch Times, Trip Savvy, very good, niche relevant, VancouverSun.com, GQmagazine.co.uk, Orange.com, Edmond Journal, National Geographic UK as well, the Spec, the Record, we have medical-economics.com, Pop Sugar UK, worldtravelguide.net, we have visitmorocco.com, fantastic niche relevant backlink, wanderlust.co.uk, we have
Yeah, it's a strong backlink profile for sure.
very strong. So from between here to here are like, this is loads of backlinks that are absolute beast. Like, very rare to see so many good backlinks in one place, to be honest, especially National Geographic. I'm quite excited about that one. So the backlink profile is obviously standing out massively. No wonder why we have a DR35 with 331 referring domains. The power is exceptionally high. In terms of the anchor text profile, nothing negative to say about it. We have branded right at the top, which is excellent. We have branded, naked, branded, you know, things are good. Nothing negative to say. We have very much niche relevance and branded anchor text, which is good. In terms of the best pages by incoming links, the majority of the backlinks are pointed towards the homepage. Now, it's temporarily redirecting to this site, but this is a kind of a domain registrar. I think it was the domain registrar for this site. So it's redirecting there temporarily. So this is technically the homepage. So all the backlinks, majority at least, are pointed towards the homepage. So this is excellent, nevertheless. We do have several, like this one that's JPEG, that unfortunately we won't be able to use because it's a JPEG, and I think the majority of the backlinks will be Blogspot. Okay, we have this one, which I'm not sure. Yeah, so if it's a JPEG or PDF, it's something we will not be able to recreate and redirect because we obviously don't own the rights. We won't be able to recreate it because it's an image after all. But we have like locations here that we can recreate. We can do certain locations in Morocco. So there's definitely a few pages we'll need to recreate, but nothing too excessive. We're seeing that the majority are pointed towards the homepage, which is good. Right. So what's the strategy now? Obviously, because the site was all about Morocco, and even the name of this domain is Morocco, we're gonna have to focus at least heavily on Morocco. Now, I don't think we should necessarily make it just a travel to Morocco. We can make it's like Wikipedia, making it like the Wikipedia of Morocco. But obviously we're not Wikipedia. We're just gonna be like everything you want to know about Morocco, come to muchmorocco.com. This can be culture, people, getting married in Morocco, traditions, traditional food, restaurants, activities, heritage, their desert, their camels, everything. Like everything you can think of about Morocco, this is gonna be the site to go to. Informational articles and everything to do with Morocco, history of Morocco, Moroccan tradition, Moroccan food, listicle content on the best Moroccan food places to visit, listicle types of content on the best places to visit Morocco. This can be like the best ones, our top 15 or something. We can also expand outside of Morocco in a very cheeky way. So we can do like Moroccan restaurants or Moroccan-inspired restaurants around the world. So we can do like 10 of the best Moroccan restaurants in New York, 10 of the best Moroccan restaurants in London. We can be smart. So if people are traveling around the world and wants to try Moroccan food, we can do that. So we can be quite smart with that as well. With the monetization, we can look at affiliate programs on everything travel related, and of course we can sign up with some activities, maybe local tours and sightseeing, because you can pay to have someone to show you around. And I know because Morocco is there's so much to see, often you'll need a guide, so we can see if we can kind of sign up to some affiliate program to that sort of stuff as well. Right. In terms of the competitors, the first one is touringmorocco.com. They are 12, so less authority than us, generating 18,000. Not exceptionally high, but it's less authority, and it's a good start for us of a site we can tomb rate and get pretty good content from them and ideas. So they're doing very much all general stuff about Morocco, like like Morocco official languages, Moroccan flag, meaning, colors, and history, Moroccan people, goats in trees, because apparently this is quite a thing. This is like a thing in Morocco. Yeah, like goats on trees is kind of a thing apparently. They're quite cute. We have Moroccan marriage, camels fun facts. There's obviously many. It's a listicle. I like that kind of stuff. Like interesting facts about camels you never knew. It's cool. This is cool content because it's related to Morocco. I think that looks cute, isn't it? It is related to Morocco because obviously they have loads of camels. We could also do it the flip side. We can do funny things, fun facts about goats and trees. You know, we can be really smart with that content. Also, things they have Morocco in itself. Fun facts: Moroccan festivals. It could be an awesome listicle types of content about all the festivals put into one piece of content, their times of the year, what's the purpose of that festival, etc. We can also divide it by music or cultural food festivals as well. We can be very smart. Traditional dresses of Morocco. We have Morocco cats, cost of living in Morocco. You know, everything related to Morocco is what I want this site to be. And this is a great example of a site doing that with less authority than us. Landmarks in Morocco. We have Nawa music, Morocco travel blogs as well. How many days in Morocco? How many days you need to see Morocco? This is cool. So yeah, this is kind of what the site is doing, and I think it's spot on exactly what our strategy is to move the site forward. The second example is, again, less authority than us, not generating an incredible amount of traffic. Again, it's a starting point for us to Tomb Raid. And these guys are doing content that's cool because they've also monetized, and this is also cool stuff. Like Tagine is a very Moroccan stuff. But you don't have to be Moroccan to have that. Like many people buy this sort of thing. Tagine is basically kind of a ceramic pot, if you like, and you do stews and very nice stuff in there. They look like this. They're very cool. So yeah, I guess this was a buyer's guide for a Tagine, and this is how we can monetize as well. They have Moroccan mint tea recipe. We can do recipes on Moroccan food down the line as well. What is Morocco known for? Breakfast in Morocco, Moroccan baths, Moroccan bath at home treatment. Interesting. How to use a tagine, which is awesome because when you look at a tagine in its unique shape, you're like, how do I do that? How do you use it? We have chicken tagine recipes, which is interesting. Moroccan carrot salad. Moroccan wedding blanket. So again, this kind of falls into the traditions of the Morocco. They look like this. So this is another, it's just interesting content to do everything with Morocco. So yeah, this is that one. And the last one I want to show you is high authority than us, but it's doing really well. And this one is doing, again, very much a bit of recipes, a bit of Morocco, Spain ferry. Morocco and Spain are kind of neighbors, so you can get there quite easily. They have beach resorts in Morocco, rugs, Moroccan drinks, Moroccan dress codes, Moroccan bread. Ras el Hanout is a very popular spice. Moroccan outfits, desert facts. Can you see Spain from Morocco? Because as I said, they're neighbors. So yeah, interesting things, loads and loads of interesting things. Now, I was thinking also down the line, we could potentially expand into the neighboring countries of Morocco. So as we're seeing here, Spain is around here, so they are neighbors, and this is across the Atlantic Ocean. And if we see this map, that's better. So Algeria is obviously a very big country as well, but I don't want to say they're the same, but they're similar in terms of traditions and cultures. They're Islamic as well. So when you look at their food, so this is Moroccan foods, traditional kind of Moroccan foods, and it's very similar. They have a tagine, obviously, couscous, stuff like that. If you go to Algerian food, again, they're different countries. They're very similar. So I'm thinking down the line we can also expand to the neighboring country of Algeria, especially Algeria, because you know, they're very similar. So we can do travel in Algeria, traditions, etc., and just kind of focus on that part of the world, if you like, down the line. This is just kind of an idea, but I'm sure that we're going to have so much content that we can cover for Morocco in itself. But just an idea that down the line, because obviously they're neighbors and quite similar cultures, we can look at expanding down the line as well. Yeah, I just want to show you here something. Yeah, so Algerian and Moroccan people are so close that it is difficult to distinguish them. But they are different countries, but they are very similar. And this is to close that. This is the last HDomain I want to show you. I think this is an awesome domain. And if the backlinks haven't convinced you, I don't know why I will. It is about Morocco. So if you're looking into getting into the Moroccan scene and Moroccan space, this is a site for you. This is it.
Yeah, I think I mean, obviously a great backlink profile there, but I think the good thing about that one is it's quite a niche. It's a niche. It's niche, isn't it? So I haven't looked at it, but I imagine that it's not super competitive. So you should ranking shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, and I like that. Once you've completed Morocco, then you can kind of expand out into other countries. Yeah, I think it's really good.
Yeah, I was thinking we could potentially look at that. And yeah, I couldn't find. So there's like three competitors that are dominating the Moroccan. There's like visit Morocco.com, which we have a backlink from, and a few more. But like the competition is so small, and so many people travel to Morocco. Like I know about almost all of my friends have been to Morocco, which is. I can hear myself. I can hear myself. Has someone got their background on?
Did you play the video? You playing the video, Jake? Maybe.
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone now. That's fine. But yeah, what I was trying to say is that I know a lot of people who have gone to Morocco, and there's some really, really cool stuff that people like. Like everyone has tried couscous, right? Everyone's tried hummus. You know, these are things that we unintentionally are somehow related to Morocco. Like we've tried Moroccan stuff already, and the culture and history is so rich that it's kind of a hotspot. Really, a lot of people visit. If you're looking, it's kind of a niche. You have a fantastic backlinks, not a huge competition. So if you're looking to get into an interesting niche, I think this is the one for you.
Yeah, it's quite a big holiday destination as well because of the weather.
At
certain times of the year, it's probably more popular than others as well for that kind of stuff. So yeah, awesome. Thank you very much for that. No. So I think we're short of the 35 likes today. I think we got to 25, so not too bad. But I think we're definitely down on numbers today, and I think that's possibly down to Thanksgiving and national holiday in the US. So we're going to do no merch giveaway today. 25 is too far short. So next time on GX Tuesday, we'll do another one. So just to let you know what's coming up on Tuesday, we've got building niche sites in 2023. So there's been a lot of change in 2022 with all of the updates and everything. So we're going to go to looking at what you need to do to build sites in 2023. Also, an introduction to entity building via Schema is next Thursday. So Adam's going to be hosting that one and covering that one off. If you're sad that Jake's not going to be back next week, don't worry, he's back the week after on the following Tuesday, and how to launch a successful seasonal digital PR campaign. So that's the next topic that Jake will be delivering on the stream. So Tuesday week for that. That's it from us then, I think. Anything else to add before we go, guys?
No, I just really want to do digital PR on that Morocco website.
You've already got the
ideas, huh?
Well, there you go. There's whoever purchases that one, Jake is chomping at the bit to do some digital PR on it as well. So. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks very much, guys. Thanks everybody watching, and we'll catch you again next week. Have a great weekend in the meantime. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.